No launch, no sale, yet delays. Apple didn't announce a new Mac Mini, no major sale, no flashy keynote, yet certain Mac Mini configurations started slipping into long delivery windows. Not everywhere, not every model, but enough that people noticed. First tech forums, then Twitter, then mainstream reporting. Something was quietly disrupting Mac Mini inventory, and it wasn't the usual upgrade cycle. The reason isn't a new chip or sudden love for desktops. The reporting points to a specific behavioral shift. People are buying small Macs to run always-on, local AI agents at home, not to browse the web, to run persistent, autonomous software operating 24/7 like a tiny server. One name keeps showing up: OpenClaw. What actually happened? Evidence-led, no overclaim. Here's the careful version. Multiple outlets documented longer delivery times and reduced availability for higher memory Mac Minis. In some cases, Mac Studios showed pressure too. The through line isn't people want a new Mac. It's people want a small machine that can run local AI workloads continuously without melting or crashing. This isn't a normal upgrade cycle. This isn't my laptop is slow. This is I need a box that behaves like a server, runs 24/7, and doesn't require infrastructure management. Apple hasn't confirmed a root cause, so treat this as investigative reporting plus visible pressure, not corporate confirmation. But the pattern is the story. Pressure shows up around configurations making local AI stable, especially memory, not base models, the ones with 32 GB, 64 GB, or more RAM. That specificity tells you something. This isn't random. It's targeted demand driven by a specific use case. What OpenClaw is: a clean definition. So what is OpenClaw? OpenClaw positions itself as an agent platform designed to run on your machine and interact through chat apps people already use: Telegram, Slack, Discord. The pitch is simple: control your infrastructure, your API keys, your data, your rules. Instead of treating AI as something you visit on a website, OpenClaw frames AI like a service that lives with you. A utility running in the background, always available, always working. That framing converts curiosity into concrete purchase decisions. I need a box that can stay on. I need reliable hardware. OpenClaw isn't unique, but it's become a catalyst, a reference point making local AI feel tangible and urgent. Agent versus chatbot, the behavioral shift that drives hardware. Most people hear AI and think chatbot. You ask a question, you get an answer, you close the tab. The interaction is transactional and ephemeral. An agent is fundamentally different. An agent is designed to remember context across sessions and conversations, run multi-step processes that unfold over time, call tools and APIs to interact with other systems, trigger actions based on conditions or schedules, schedule and automate tasks without human supervision, keep running when you're not watching, even when you're asleep, at work, or on vacation. That last point is the shift. Prompts are occasional. Agents are continuous, and continuous workloads force you to care about things you never thought about before: uptime, stability, thermal management, power draw, and what happens when the system fails at 3 a.m. and you're not there to restart it. Suddenly, you're not buying a computer to use. You're buying infrastructure to rely on. Why the Mac Mini becomes the default home AI server. The Mac Mini enters not as a fashion object, but as a default utility box. Small footprint, whisper quiet, thermally efficient, energy sipping, easy to leave running indefinitely. It fits the civilian server profile, a machine that sits on a desk like a router and just works. No rack building, no infrastructure management. But the real reason is convenience wrapped in reliability. People don't want to build a custom rig, research motherboards, troubleshoot Linux drivers, or manage fan noise. They want something they can unbox, plug in, and forget. That forget part is crucial. If you're running an always-on agent, you don't want to babysit it. You want boring reliability. Imagine a realistic workflow. One agent summarizes documents as they arrive, another organizes notes, a third drafts content outlines, a fourth monitors RSS feeds. That's not AI for fun. That's background compute, infrastructure, and infrastructure needs stability. Why RAM becomes the bottleneck, making it intuitive, not technical. Now we get to the mechanical reason this story has legs: memory. Most people assume AI workloads are mainly about CPU power or GPU speed. That's not wrong, but it's not the first bottleneck in many local workflows. Memory is. Here's the simplest analogy. Storage is a warehouse. RAM is the workbench. If your workbench is tiny, you spend your entire day walking back and forth to the warehouse to fetch materials. Everything slows down. Your productivity collapses not because you're incapable, but because the workspace is inadequate. Now apply that to AI agents. If you run multiple tasks simultaneously, one agent indexing thousands of files, another summarizing content, another generating outputs, your working set, the data actively being processed, grows fast. Really fast. When that working set exceeds available RAM, performance doesn't just slow down, it collapses. The system starts swapping, moving data between RAM and storage frantically. Processes stall, tasks queue up, agents become unresponsive. The whole thing feels broken. That's why delivery pressure shows up around higher memory configurations. Not because people are chasing luxury specs or bragging rights, because they're buying stability. A Mac Mini with 16 GB of RAM might handle one lightweight agent. But 2 agents? 3? Running models with large context windows? Indexing a personal knowledge base of 10,000 documents? You hit the ceiling fast. And when you do, the only solution is more RAM. Second order effect? Mac Studio clusters and home AI racks. The Mac Mini Rush is the entry level, the gateway drug, if you will. But the second order effect is what happens after people get a taste of always-on local AI and realize what's possible. They don't stop at one agent, they add a second, then a third. Then they start experimenting with heavier workloads, longer jobs, larger language models, more context retention, more concurrency, more integrations. And that's where the Mac Studio shows up. Not because it's trendy or aspirational, but because it's the next logical step when constraints become obvious and painful. If your Mac Mini is now doing continuous document indexing across cloud storage, background summarization of research papers, tool calling to interact with external APIs, scheduled jobs that run overnight, occasional local model inference. With larger models, you start hitting friction. Tasks slow down. Agents become less responsive. You're back to walking to the warehouse. Here's the key insight. People aren't buying a computer, they're buying capacity. The twist? Security blowback. Now the twist? Security. AI agents handle files, API tokens, integrations, and credentials. That makes them high-value targets. Security researchers have flagged credential theft and info stealer malware targeting local agent setups. Why? Tokens and configs stored on these machines are keys to the kingdom. Compromise an agent box, and attackers get access to every service your agents interact with. Cloud storage, email, project management, financial platforms. There's a deeper problem. Prompt injection becomes a genuine attack vector. If an agent reads untrusted content and takes automated actions, malicious input can hijack behavior, not just return bad answers, but execute harmful actions autonomously. So while the trend pushes towards local control, it simultaneously pushes towards local responsibility. You're not just the user, you're the system administrator. Reality check and close, a clean landing. Keep your head, stay grounded. This is not proof that OpenClaw alone caused Mac Mini hardware shortages. It's not evidence of some massive consumer revolution. It's investigative reporting, combined with a visible pattern in delivery times and configuration-specific demand. What we can say with confidence, local AI and always-on agents are shifting demand towards specific stable hardware configurations. Machines with enough RAM to handle concurrent workloads. Machines quiet and efficient enough to run 24/7. Machines reliable enough to be infrastructure, not toys. The durable insight is simple and significant. AI is now shaping hardware buying decisions because people are moving from try a model to run a service. The shift from experimentation to infrastructure is what's driving this. People aren't just curious about AI anymore, they're depending on it, and dependency requires stability. So the story isn't a Mac Mini sold out or Apple had supply chain issues. The story is why anyone is buying small desktop computers like servers in the first place. AI ate the hardware, and we're just starting to see what that means.